Hello and welcome to the second part and hopefully the final part of this turbo rebuild. Let's see here. We replaced all the bushings and bearings inside and put new shaft seals on both sides of this turbo. Everything is good and clean inside and lubed with oil. I grabbed some red RTV high temp from the parts store, and I also grabbed some assembly lube. I'm going to pull that shaft back out and just lube that real well, just for extra reassurance that it'll spin well while it's priming for oil. This has been a very fun job, but I don't want to do it again. I want it to work the first time. So that main shaft has been lubed with the assembly grease and taking very good care to apply that red silicone RTV. I have covered the whole mating surface. This backing plate for the blower housing has also been cleaned inside and out, and most all of the RTV has been scraped away or wire brushed away as well. Look at that. That looks nice. I'm pretty excited about that. Everything went together very well. Just keep in mind that that is a left-hand thread instead of a right-hand thread. So it's lefty-tighty instead of righty-tighty. And it doesn't need to be tight. It just needs to be snug, pretty much. Just snug it up by hand with a wrench and it's good to go. So I'm ready to start assembling the rest of the turbocharger. But if you can see that, there's a pretty good step in the exhaust. And way in here is where the turbine is, and all of this, if it was smoothed out, would just help flow. So I'm going to clean that ridge off with my die grinder, and I figured while I'm at it I should probably clean up these ports too. You can see how much excess ring there is from turbo smoke or diesel smoke. So that's a really good guide for me right there. So I'm going to clean those up as well. Just make this thing flow. So you can see I've cut down the majority of that lip, and it's starting to come in, along with, you can see the difference in the size of the holes based on the smoke ring as well. I could still hog a little out of that bottom left area, but it's coming in pretty good. I mean, obviously the more air I can get into this turbo, the more I can get out of it. EGTs will be lower, and boost will be more responsive. So obviously there's going to be a lot of cleanup here, but I think it's going to be well worth it. This side I will just wire wheel and clean up the best I can, and then I'm going to spend a lot of time at the parts washer and air nozzle blowing all the particles out of this everywhere I can, because you can see them everywhere. There. I'd say that's a whole lot better. It's not perfect, but I believe that it's going to make a difference. Both up pipe ports are matched pretty much as close as I can, and though you can still see that little bit of a gap in the middle, the ridge is pretty much gone, so that's going to flow really well. I mean, we are dealing with a raw casting here, very few machine surfaces, so this is going to be good. Alright, so this is prepped and ready to go back together. While it was apart, I also chased all the threads for the exhaust pipes, and those were 10 millimeter by 1, I think. But I just chased those, cleaned them up because they were giving me some fits when I took it apart. I will also tap or chase all the threads in the manifolds as well before I reassemble. A keen eye will also see that I missed something. All those injector lines don't have the little hold down tabs to keep those from turning, so I'll have to pop them on before I get too far. And there we have it. One side is assembled, and that's a good thing. Okay, final step here. I've got RTV on the inside lip of the blower housing, and this whole assembly is together as well, and now it's time to mate them somehow. Okay, so I have everything kind of together loosely, and I will just work around and kind of alternate like wheel lugs, tightening this blower fan down. And you can see back there, my 3 lines are actually lined up if you look at them straight. See, there they are. So now it's just tighten it down and make sure, now that this fan is in there that's a lot taller, I need to make sure that the housing gets tightened evenly and that those blades don't bind up. And there we have it. It's all tightened down. That spins. Remember that the assembly lube is like a grease, so I'm guessing once oil gets pumping through there, that's going to start freewheeling a whole lot faster. Man, that looks good in there. Looks really good. That's going to scoop so much more air.